Actually, I avoided princess parties, and it was hard to keep me in a dress. My hero was Zorro, so I wanted to be.
Have you ever looked at a royal and thought, they have it all? The tiaras, the wealth, the luxury lifestyle, it all seems like a dream. But what if behind those palace walls, it's more of a nightmare than a fairy tale? That's exactly the question we're asking today about Princess Charlene of Monaco. Once a celebrated Olympic swimmer, she became one of Europe's most watched royals. But over the years, her radiant smile has faded, her appearances have become rare, and her silence has raised eyebrows across the globe. So what happened to Princess Charlene? Was it heartbreak, betrayal, or something even more complicated? Stay with us as we uncover the shocking truth behind the glamorous facade and reveal the royal secrets Monaco hoped you'd never find out. From the outside, Princess Charlene's journey seems straight out of a fairy tale. Born in Zimbabwe and raised in South Africa, Charlene Lynette Wittstock was a champion swimmer, winning multiple medals at the All-Africa Games, competing in the Commonwealth Games, and even representing South Africa at the 2000 Olympics. Her life was defined by discipline, dedication, and a relentless drive to succeed. But everything changed in 2000, when she caught the eye of Prince Albert II of Monaco at a swimming competition. What started as a simple encounter blossomed into a royal romance. Over the next few years, the two grew closer. By 2006, Charlene was making public appearances beside Albert, and by 2010, they were officially engaged. A year later, she walked down the aisle and officially became Princess Charlene of Monaco. But even before the wedding bells rang, whispers of doubt echoed through the palace. Leading up to their wedding in July 2011, media outlets exploded with rumors that Charlene had tried to flee Monaco multiple times. Some reports even claimed she sought refuge at the South African embassy in France. Official sources denied the escape attempts, but the timing couldn't have been worse. Just days before the wedding, Prince Albert was once again in the headlines. Not for romance, but for revelations. It was confirmed that he had fathered at least 2 illegitimate children, Jasmine Grace Grimaldi, born in 1992, and Alexandre Grimaldi, born in 2003. The latter's existence only came to light after a French magazine published damning photos, forcing Albert to acknowledge him publicly. These weren't just minor personal revelations, they were royal bombshells. In Monaco, where the royal family symbolizes the nation's identity and prestige, scandal doesn't just threaten personal reputations, it threatens the state's very foundation. Princess Charlene was entering a marriage already marked by controversy, secrecy, and betrayal. And while some hoped that the prince's past would remain in the past, that fantasy quickly crumbled. In 2020, yet another woman came forward, this time a Brazilian national, claiming that Prince Albert had fathered a daughter with her while he was already in a relationship with Charlene. The allegations reignited old wounds and cast serious doubts on Albert's ability to remain faithful. The timing couldn't have been worse for Charlene. Just as she was trying to find her place in royal life and earn the respect of Monaco's elite, she found herself once again humiliated and betrayed. Friends close to the princess began to speak out, saying she felt trapped, isolated, and emotionally suffocated by the weight of expectations and the constant threat of scandal. The public began to notice changes in Charlene's demeanor. Once a radiant and active royal figure, she now appeared withdrawn, distant, and visibly unhappy. Photos from official events showed her standing apart from her husband, avoiding eye contact, and wearing expressions that betrayed inner turmoil. Body language experts and tabloids alike began dissecting her every move. Rumors swirled about a potential divorce, but such a move would have been catastrophic for Monaco. The country relies heavily on its image as a pristine, glamorous destination. A messy royal breakup would damage not just the family, but the entire principality's brand. That's when a startling revelation surfaced. Allegedly, Prince Albert had agreed to pay Charlene an annual sum of 12 million euros to stay in the marriage. The payment, insiders claimed, wasn't just about keeping Charlene around, it was about protecting the crown from public disgrace. Under this supposed financial agreement, Charlene would be expected to continue fulfilling her royal duties, attending events, maintaining appearances, and standing beside Albert in public. In return, she'd receive financial security and the trappings of royal life. But behind the scenes, the reality was far darker. Charlene was reportedly growing more and more disillusioned. The once vibrant athlete had been transformed into a figurehead with little control over her own life. She had traded the freedom of her sporting career for a role that demanded obedience, restraint, and the suppression of her personal pain. And then came the breaking point. In 2021, Princess Charlene left Monaco and returned to South Africa for what was supposed to be a brief conservation trip. But weeks turned into months, and her absence became impossible to ignore. The official statement from the palace claimed she was suffering from a severe ear, nose, and throat infection that prevented her from flying. But the public wasn't buying it. Photos of Charlene looking gaunt, tired, and emotionally drained only fueled speculation. Was she using her medical condition as a cover to escape the royal life? Was she seeking peace away from her husband and the court? When she eventually returned to Monaco, she didn't resume her duties. Instead, she checked into a private treatment facility, citing physical and emotional exhaustion. The royal family insisted she was simply recovering, but by then, the damage had been done. The facade of a happy marriage had shattered, and the world was finally seeing the cracks in Monaco's golden couple. But even in her darkest moments, Charlene found a way to reclaim some purpose. Drawing from her roots as an elite athlete, she returned to her passion for helping others. In 2012, she founded the Princess Charlene of Monaco Foundation, dedicated to drowning prevention and water safety. The organization has since grown globally, saving lives and educating children in countries like South Africa, India, Bangladesh, and the United States. Through partnerships with the Red Cross, World Rugby, and local organizations, her foundation has trained thousands of children and teachers on how to stay safe in the water. Despite the chaos in her personal life, Charlene continued to shine as a humanitarian, pouring her energy into causes that mattered to her deeply. This wasn't just about fulfilling royal obligations, it was her lifeline, her way of holding on to who she truly was. Beyond the foundation, Charlene supported a wide array of charitable efforts, from donating to children's hospitals and supporting maternity wards to providing masks and medical supplies during the COVID-19 pandemic. She proved time and again that her heart was still in the right place. Even as headlines painted her as a broken woman trapped in a toxic marriage, she kept showing up for those in need. These actions earned her respect far beyond Monaco's borders. No longer seen as just a beautiful princess, Charlene began to be recognized as a resilient woman who, despite heartbreak and betrayal, refused to be defined by her circumstances. Her story resonated with women everywhere who have faced similar struggles, those who felt unseen, unheard, and undervalued, but who continued to persevere anyway. To truly understand Charlene's present, we must revisit her past. Long before she was a princess, she was a girl with dreams. Born in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe in 1978, Charlene came from humble beginnings. Her father was a sales manager, and her mother, a former competitive diver, later became a swimming coach. From a young age, Charlene showed incredible promise in the pool. Her dedication led her to multiple victories, including 3 gold medals and 1 silver at the 1999 All-Africa Games. She represented South Africa in the Commonwealth Games and Olympics, earning global recognition for her talent. Yet, even during her rise, Charlene made time to give back, teaching swimming to underprivileged children and using her skills for a greater purpose. Her humility and kindness were evident long before the palace spotlight ever found her. Charlene's swimming career wasn't without setbacks. A shoulder injury kept her out of competition for over a year, dashing her hopes of qualifying for the 2008 Olympics. But even in defeat, she demonstrated grit. After training under elite coaches and traveling across South Africa to continue her development, Charlene fought hard to stay at the top of her game. But fate had different plans. Her path took a dramatic turn when she reconnected with Prince Albert in 2005 after reaching out to offer condolences on the passing of his father. That moment reignited their connection, and within a year, she was accompanying him to major public events. Their shared love of sports and commitment to charitable causes drew them closer, and for a time, their relationship seemed solid. But fairy tales, as we've learned, often hide the most painful truths. Even as Princess Charlene continues to carry out her royal responsibilities, the contrast between her public persona and private life remains stark. Those closest to her have hinted that behind closed doors, Charlene has wrestled with anxiety, loneliness, and a sense of entrapment. The palace may appear pristine and glittering to outsiders, but for her, it may feel like a gilded cage. Being under constant surveillance by both the press and palace aides leaves little room for vulnerability or authenticity. Any misstep, any emotional crack, is instantly magnified and scrutinized across global headlines. And for Charlene, whose every smile is measured and whose silence is often louder than words, the psychological toll of maintaining that composure has likely been immense. It's no wonder that her time away from Monaco, even under the guise of illness or charity work, seems to be the only moments where she truly breathes. Her role as a mother has added both joy and complexity to her life. Charlene is fiercely protective of her twins, Prince Jacques and Princess Gabriella, born in 2014. As the first hereditary Prince of Monaco, born in over 50 years, Jacques is being raised as the heir to the throne. Charlene has often spoken about the challenges and blessings of raising children in such an environment, where tradition looms heavy and privacy is scarce. Despite the strains in her marriage, Charlene has remained deeply involved in her children's lives, making it a priority to shield them from the emotional chaos surrounding the palace. Photos of her with Jacques and Gabriella reveal rare, unguarded moments of tenderness, reminding the public that behind the royal regalia is a devoted and loving mother trying her best to give her children a normal upbringing in an extraordinary world. What's even more striking is how Charlene's fashion and physical appearance have subtly reflected her internal state over the years. Early in her royal life, she was celebrated for her elegance and Hollywood-like beauty, drawing comparisons to Princess Grace. But as emotional strain mounted, her style grew more reserved. Sharper silhouettes, darker tones, and minimal accessories began to dominate her wardrobe. Her makeup became more subdued, her hairstyles simpler. This evolution wasn't just about aesthetic choices, it mirrored a woman transitioning from being molded by royal expectations to reclaiming her own narrative. Fashion, for Charlene, became both armor and message, an understated rebellion against the rigid image the palace once tried to cast her in. And whether intentional or not, it spoke volumes about the internal transformation taking place beneath the surface. The media's portrayal of Charlene has shifted dramatically over the past decade. Early on, she was the reluctant bride, the outsider who had married into the fairy tale. Then came the rumors, the health concerns, and the long disappearances, which painted her as fragile and unstable. But in recent years, a different image has emerged, one of quiet defiance and strength. While she still rarely speaks to the press, her actions have begun to speak louder than any interview ever could. From continuing her foundation's work, to showing up with her children at key public moments, to even subtly breaking protocol and how she carries herself, Charlene is rewriting the script that was written for her. She may not be the loudest royal, but she's becoming one of the most respected. And in a world that often demands women to choose between personal peace and public duty, Charlene is carefully trying to navigate both. Looking ahead, the future of Princess Charlene remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: she has earned the world's respect. Whether she remains in Monaco beside Prince Albert or eventually chooses a life beyond the palace walls, her story will continue to inspire conversations about resilience, sacrifice, and autonomy. In an institution that values tradition above all else, Charlene represents something increasingly rare, a royal who didn't simply accept her fate, but questioned it, who didn't crumble under scandal, but channeled her pain into purpose, and who continues to remind us that even behind the most polished crowns are real people facing real struggles. Her journey is far from over, and as it unfolds, many will continue to watch, not because of the tiaras, but because of the truth she carries beneath them. So now, we turn the question over to you. Was Charlene's marriage to Prince Albert built on love or duty? Do you believe she'll ever be truly free from the weight of Monaco's royal expectations? And more importantly, do you see her as a victim of her circumstances or a woman rising above them? Let us know in the comments below. We want to hear your thoughts. And if you found this story as revealing and powerful as we did, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more royal deep dives, and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and until next time,